And as everyone who knows me in the past, I love quotes, so I'm going to start with a quote tonight to thank you all for being such a big part of this community for so many years. There's so many great, wonderful friends and supporters and colleagues in this room. So I wanted to share this with you. I've had a lot of time over COVID time to do some reading and think about quotes. To attract what you want, be as joyful as you think that thing would make you. To attract what you want, be as joyful as you think that thing would make you. From Martha Beck. I can honestly say that throughout the years, I've thought of my time with Community Vision as joyful. I'm a very lucky person and very lucky to have you all in my life. Not everyone knows my history, so I just wanted to share a little bit. How did I get here? Two big events early on in my life really shaped my thinking while I was really young. As a kid, I was taken out of school because I had a rare disease for a while that put me in a wheelchair. And back in the 60s, there was no ADA, no ramps. So we've come a long way in 50, 60 years in our thinking. And that's why breaking down barriers, creating opportunities for people is so important to me. And I didn't plug into that till a little later in my life, but that happened as a kid when I was in first grade and had a brace for a couple of years, and so was not included in school for a while. But my friends and family were always there. And then at age 12 or 13, I joined a youth ARC movement, and my friend Jay Klein, who gave one of the pledges and a real lifelong friend, went to a little presentation on volunteering with other kids who happen to have a disability. And as Jay tells the story, we just wanted to get out of the class because it was one of those things you could go to. So we went and said, well, this is pretty cool. And we could give some time. And so that's how I started just getting to know people when I was a teenager, still in high school. And this summer, 50 years, it'll be 50 years that I embarked on a cross-country trip to Boise, Idaho for the National Youth ARC Conference. We had gotten involved as officers on the local, state, and national level. Somehow we talked our parents into letting us go away for 2 months when we were 15. Got a Greyhound bus pass, stayed with all our relatives across the country, maybe went a few other places, and went to the convention, but that really shaped my thinking at an early age. And both Jay and I have spent our life just helping people and working with people and being alongside people. And I love the Northwest so much. I loved Oregon that I decided to move out here and leave my family in New York, which of course wasn't easy, but it was just a pull. And so I landed in Oregon at Southern Oregon University. It was a great fit for me. And later on at graduate school at Portland State, and was very lucky to study under some great thinkers at the time. And that was just such an incredible experience. Over the years, I even honed this accent, the Oregon accent, not the New York accent. So I thought today, if I was still in New York and started an agency, be like, hey, I'm walking here. Hey. But I worked on this over the years. When I first got here, people used to pull me aside because they wanted to hear my New York accent. And, I kind of lost it a little bit over time. Now I'm proud of it. So 33 years ago, as you've heard, I started Community Vision. And I have so much gratitude for my friends and colleagues who led the way for me. One person is actually here tonight, Carl Rear. He kind of got me into all this work. We worked for an organization called Oregon Technical Assistance Corporation, and we traveled the state for a while, working with nonprofits all throughout the state. And then I worked for Multnomah County for a while on technical assistance and helping other people with housing and such. And then one day Carl calls me. I've wanted to tell this story for the longest time to try to get here. It says, I want you to meet this person, Donald Boss.
His family is really unique and he needs to move home. They're having young people move out of the institution. So I helped Otto move home, and pretty soon he had another person he was talking about, and pretty soon I was hooked, meeting people and seeing the changes in their lives. And so it's other people in your life that bring you forward. And I've waited a long time to tell that story in public. So thank you, Carl. And other people in my life, some who were up here tonight, colleagues, Jay Klein, Patty Scott, Dave Hasbury, my friend Judith Snow, Jeff Stroley, Jack Pierpoint, Marsha Forrest, Bob Williams, Lou Brown. All these people were incredible thinkers in this field and leaders. And I was lucky enough to get involved in a national organization, international organization called TASH in the very early 80s when it started. And I had that chance to get mentored by those people. They were doing incredible things. And so it really made a lot of sense when I listened to other people that people would want to have their own home, and people would want their own supports and not live in a group situation. Lou Brown, people would want their own employment in their life. They want wages. So I was very lucky to also be in that right place at the right time. When I started Community Vision, we had no cell phones back in the day, right? We had pagers, you have to pull over and use a payphone. No computers, are very basic. The first computers, can't remember what they're called at this point, but we had like one computer in a small little office at the time. And I literally had to take a loan from my family in the early days to pay the bills. And sometimes in the early years, and actually a while in, some of us in the office would just hold on to our paychecks for a while we waited to get paid. Because in those days, we didn't have electronic transfers. All the money we had to be signed by multiple people at the county. And so sometimes things were tough. And I used to be a little ashamed of that and realized that's just part of starting a business, starting a nonprofit, the growth, but people were always there for me. And I've always, all along, felt truly supported by my family and friends. My kids are here tonight, Maggie and Joe. James couldn't be here. My good friends Lauren and Jill, and my buddy Lauren, who I've known since the late 70s and met through Jay, and so many great people that have always been part of Community Vision and helped us live our dream. I've also learned so much over the years from the staff and the board of directors and many of the people in the room tonight here. Carlene's here, a long-term board member. Thomas, who's still on the board. Ronald, Alicia is here. John, there's a lot of other people. Nancy Furman's here, who was one of our first board presidents for Community Vision. Everyone here that's given so much time. Stacy Bellwood. I think I've caught about everyone that's here tonight, but people that have just truly been here for Community Vision. Yashika, you here? Yes, and Yashika, who was once a roommate for someone we supported, is now on the board. I can honestly say these days, I actually really have no regrets, just learning experiences. And some of it is just, I think, being a little tenacious and outlasting some of the people who didn't believe in what we were doing for a while. Because the early days weren't always, not everyone was Carl or other folks that were supporting us. And so you had to just kind of dig in a little bit. One of my favorite singer-songwriters recently said in a quote, "I call my stubbornness entrepreneurial. It's my nature to challenge authority," and I can so much relate to that quote. But on the other side of that for me has been, along the way, I've learned to reach out to community, and that's who's here tonight, to build alliances, to work together with others. That's when I'm most proud about when I look back, because taking that time, and especially in COVID, it's been harder to connect with people. And so you just, in my world, you just can't replace those relationships, and all the housers that have supported us, the other nonprofits, all the businesses. It's all about relationships and spending that time with others. And so that's what I most value. And over the years, I even learned to laugh. I used to they do some of the early videos or such, people say, you're always so serious. Well, it's like it's serious work. But over the years, under sort of the tutelage of younger staff, they got me to lighten up a little bit and laugh and have a good time. And that's been some of the best learning for me. So I've really benefited from the younger staff who have always seen the way forward, and now surely will lead the way forward for Community Vision for years to come. And that's really the most important thing. It's not about me, it's about people being here for the future, for others, for other individuals with disabilities, for families who have kids with disabilities, and that's just awesome to think ahead that we have the structure to continue to make that happen for people. And And I want to really, really, from deep in my heart, thank the board and Community Vision and Jennifer for leading the way into this transition. It was the right time. You know, a lot of people, because of COVID, thought, well, like, why now? Or people were a little disconnected. It was now because it was the right time. There were the people there to continue to run the organization. There was Jennifer who's doing an awesome job. There was a long-term board members and new board members who can take over for the future. And there's never the perfect time, but it was the right time for me, and I think the right time for the organization. I saw so many organizations and colleagues struggle to find the right person to come in and take over an organization. So really felt like we had that figured out, and I'm just so happy for Community Vision going into the future. So I'm gonna pause, and I'm gonna kind of close there because I have another quote for you. Imagine that I'd like to share. And this came from one of the shows Lisa and I have been watching over COVID, and it goes like this: a society grows great when old people plant trees, the state of which they know they will never sit under. A society grows great when old people plant trees, the state of which they know they will never sit under. So my plan for the future is I will continue to dream. I said that word, Jennifer mentioned it. I said that word again, dream. I'll continue to dream about a vibrant community for all of us, and all of us continuing to support each other. So for me, it's time to plant some trees, work on a few housing projects still and help others, and more time to hold my grandkids. And I thank you so much for being here tonight.